So real quick, I'm shooting with my Panasonic S5, and I'm shooting with my Helios 44-2, which is a 58mm lens, full frame. I'm shooting at ISO 400, 4K for people who care. I'm shooting in Vlog, and yeah. What I wanted to talk about was sometimes YouTube can be pretty stupid, and sometimes YouTube can be amazing, and sometimes YouTube could kind of be like always the same old thing. You know what I mean? Like, it could get repetitive. It could be people doing the same things over and over and over again, kind of being derivative of one another, copying one another, biting on one another, just trying to get ahead, you know? But oftentimes, because I'm not even going to say every once in a while, I'm going to say oftentimes, YouTube can be really important. And the other day, somebody left a comment on one of my videos, and I'll actually link that video at the end of this video, in the tray at the end. They left a comment about IBIS, and it was, first of all, I want to shout out to Friendly Casper, who left this comment for me. And it just reminded me that we should never lose sight that this is an inclusive community. That, you know, when we're talking about filmmaking or photography or cameras or, you know, actually when you're talking about anything, you should be inclusive of everybody. We all should, you know? And it was just like a slap in the face reminder, because Friendly Casper deals with tremors in his or her life. I don't know if it's a he or a she or a they, or I have no idea. But I know that they left a really, really considered comment that I felt the first comment was a little perturbed, you know, like a little angry, like we left this person out. Because they said, you know, you can't discount, you know, 5-axis IBIS for somebody like me with tremors, because it gives me access to the photography that I really want to shoot. Like, it makes it easier for me to not miss the shot. It makes it easier for me to kind of forget about my limitations, you know, the obstacles that I have in my life. And it allows me to just be a photographer. Now, this person was more a photographer than a filmmaker, I got from the comments, because then I left a comment, and then this person left another comment, really long, and I felt like I kind of opened up the dialogue for him, her, or they, and it made me feel good, you know, because I learned a lot from it, because even though I try to consider myself very open and inclusive all the time, if I'm being really honest, I wasn't even thinking about that as a possibility of being something important about the video that I was leaving, you know. And I really want my channel to be about this kind of thing, this kind of narrative, this kind of conversation, you know, this kind of inclusive space for anybody and everybody to come in and say, hey, don't forget about me. You know, you might be talking about specs and they're not important, and nobody uses autofocus and nobody uses IBIS or whatever, but look at me, I have tremors. And so now I don't have to think as much about using a gimbal. And if I use my, you know, they mentioned, you know, their old A6000, which didn't have any stabilization. I mean, that's something to really think about. And it's a blessing for that person. And I don't know if Panasonic even thinks about that when they create the industry-leading stabilization on their cameras. But they're doing what my grandmother used to call a mitzvah for a lot of people. You know, a blessing, a gift. They're helping somebody to kind of level the playing field, to make photography and filmmaking something that is easier for them to do. They're giving them access to just use their creativity and just shoot what they see and what they feel and what they want to present to the people, like, hey, look what I shot. Or to themselves, look what I got. And so I was very moved by that, you know. And I thought that's really the most important comment I've gotten in a long time. You know, I get people all the time leaving really considered, meaningful comments to me, but this was something that was kind of, I felt like it was checking me, you know, and it was just reminding me, like, yo, don't forget about, it ain't all about you. It's about all of us. And so I just want to keep this short and sweet and just say that I think that should be the intention for everybody. You know, when you're leaving a video, don't forget that anybody could see your video from anywhere in the world. Anybody under any circumstances, somebody who is not living in the same kind of scenario that you're living in. You know, that maybe you have all of your faculties with you. You know, maybe you're able to do pretty much anything that any camera allows you to do. And maybe you can, you know, not have to worry about certain specs, but maybe there are certain specs that bring somebody who is challenged in ways that you're not challenged. You know, it brings them this opportunity to participate in a way that was much more difficult for them before. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And if Lumix, you know, if Panasonic thought about that, and if they were intentional about that, I'm even a bigger fan of that company. But if not, they got really lucky. And, you know, they don't even realize what they did, perhaps. Or maybe they do. I don't know. But anyway, I feel very fortunate to have this person stop by and leave this comment. And I hope a lot of people read it. The video is doing pretty well. It's still rolling. And I hope everybody reads it, you know. And I hope everybody gets something from it. And I hope, you know, I hope what I hope with every video, you know. Like that the work that I do contributes in some kind of way to bring us together, to make a more, you know, I'll use the word again, a more inclusive world, you know, a more inclusive community, a space where we can all kind of exist together and contribute to one another, you know, and come up with ideas and, you know, show each other different ways of looking at things and thinking about things. And if somebody has certain obstacles in their life, if certain camera specifications, specs or whatever, if certain things that they shove into these cameras can help people who otherwise might have felt left out, that is a magnificent thing and something that I'm very proud of, to have a camera that makes it easier for people who don't have the opportunity that I have. You know, it's easy for me to say, I don't care about stabilization. And as a matter of fact, when I used the Sony a6400 and I didn't have stabilization, I learned how to make my camera stable. But I don't deal with tremors. And it is an obstacle if you're working on a set, you know, and you're hopeful to be a cinematographer and you have tremors. It's kind of a thing. But this camera, a prosumer camera, a Lumix S5 or Panasonic S5 II or an S5 IIX, or all the GH cameras with incredible IBIS stabilization. There's like a whole series of cameras, the G9, the G series cameras, like it's right there for somebody who deals with something like tremors. And so I'm proud to be a part of that. It makes me more of a fanboy of Panasonic and Lumix, even though all the companies are catching up. You know, everybody's getting better stabilization. I don't know if they're thinking of it in this way and for this purpose, but, you know, sometimes things just happen. Sometimes the universe provides, and it's not even intentional by the person who kind of stumbled upon some kind of an invention or something like that, but it winds up helping a lot of people. And sometimes people who are challenged see something that happened and they're like, oh my God, I can take advantage of that. And then they spread the word to people in their community. That's something else to me. I'm really happy with that. So thank you. And Friendly Casper, you really contributed to my channel. And as I often say, you know, at the end of social media posts and sometimes on my YouTube posts, maybe not often enough, thanks so much for being here, and here's to a better world for all of us. Thank you.